An edict of the Nicean Creed, and a brief story of Immaculate Conception. Let's jump into it. This is the Nicean Creed. For us and for our salvation, he came down from heaven. Speaking of who the world calls Jesus Christ. He became incarnate by the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary and was made human. Now what you see on the screen here is the Greek deity known as Perseus. Okay? Now Perseus was one of the most celebrated heroes of Greek mythology. He was the son of Argive princess Danae, who was locked away in a bronze chamber by her father Perseus, who lived in fear of a prophecy that he would one day be killed by her son. The god Zeus, however, infiltrated her prison in the guise of a golden shower and impregnated her. When Perseus discovered the child, he placed the two in a chest and set them adrift at sea. They were carried safely to the island of Seriphos, where they were offered refuge by the kindly fisherman Dictys. Okay, now that's Greek mythology. In the world today, you Christians believe who the world calls Jesus Christ was born of Immaculate Conception. Okay? Now, this is not grievous to me, so I'm here to put you in remembrance that that is falsehood. Okay? The idea of Immaculate Conception goes back to ancient Babylonian times and ancient Egyptian times. Okay? To the story of Semiramis and Tammuz. Okay? And all these other fertility goddesses. Okay? This is the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4. It's 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 7. First Timothy chapter 4 verse 7. But refuse profane and old wise fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness. Okay, and the story of Immaculate Conception is an old wise fable. Okay, it's an old fable. Okay, it is falsehood. It is satanic. Okay, the scriptures tell us that who the world calls Jesus Christ, who in the Hebrew is known as Yahushai, was born under the law. Okay? This is the book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 4. But when the fullness of the time was come, the Most High sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law. Okay? And what was that law Mary had to take heed to? Let's see. This is the book of Luke, St. Luke, chapter 2, verse 22. And it reads, And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to Yahweh. Okay? And what was this law Moses had prescribed to the children of Israel by way of the Most High Yahweh? Well, let's look into that. Let's get the understanding of that. This is Leviticus chapter 12, beginning at verse 2. Well, let's start at verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, who was Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed, and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity, shall she be unclean. And in the eighth day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. Verse 4. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 30 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. Okay? So Mary had to undergo 40 days of purification because she conceived seed, okay, from her husband Joseph, the biological father of who the world calls Jesus Christ. Okay? This is the wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 6. And I'm going to end the video. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, beginning at verse 1. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep. And when I was born, I drew in the common air, and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature. And the first voice which I uttered was crying, and as all others do. Verse 4, I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares. Verse 5, for there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. Verse 6, for all men have one entrance into life, and the light going out. Okay? The Immaculate Conception is paganistic. It's devilish. It's of Satan, okay? Has its roots to Babylonian customs, Egyptian customs, and ancient Greek customs. I pray this video was edifying to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone. Shalom.